Hello and welcome to episode 91 of the TSM podcast. My name is Aidan O'Sullivan and I'm joined by my very good friend and co-host, Mr.
Not
Ashley.
Aidan O'Sullivan.
Mr. Not Aidan O'Sullivan. In this episode, we are talking about there's kind of 5 big pricing mistakes that a lot of entertainers make. You see, we shared an episode back at episode 43 on how much should you charge, and we shared a couple of concepts and a couple of ideas, a bit of theory about how much should you charge. But since then, we've realised that there are like 5 big buckets of pricing mistakes that a lot of entertainers face. And we're basically going to go through each of those and also provide a big solution at the end. So you'll be able to work out where you might be challenged when it comes down to pricing right now, and also be able to work out exactly what the next steps are for you. Now, here's the thing. Pricing, it's incredibly important. And by incredibly important, we're talking make or break here. Like it might seem obvious for some, but for others, for reasons they probably aren't familiar with. But Ashley, why is price important?
Well, because literally, that's what you're going to get paid. The fee that you put on your packages, your offers, is what your client will, hopefully, pay, and that money will end up in your bank account. But here's the thing. Pricing can also dictate people's decisions. And I think, Aidan, you're going to break that down for us.
Oh, I'm gonna be spouting so many metaphors in this one just to really hammer home
here we
some
go.
points.
It's like I read your mind and I knew this was coming. It's like we planned this episode.
Or just messed it up 2 times beforehand. You never know. You never know. We do. We messed up twice. Anyway, so here's the thing. Pricing is so important. And let's get this as an example of, like, say you, outside of magic, let's say you sell, like, crystals, like chakra healing crystal. You like chakra bracelet crystal healing stuff. As you can tell, I don't know anything about that niche. All I know is marketing. But here's the thing. Let's say you're selling at one of those and you pop a post out on social media that entices somebody to click and have a look, and they land on the page and it's 97 quid for this one chakra tweaking, healing, aura fixing, cleansing bracelet. I'm just throwing out words and hoping it lands at this point. It's not working. But let's say it's 97 quid and they sit there and think, oh my gosh, that is really, really expensive. I'm not buying that. Leave the page. As they say on the flip side, you've got this post out there. It says luxury. It's got a beautiful photo of it looking absolutely professional and amazing. You've got luxury on there, and you've got amazing words to really emphasize the value. And they click the link and it's $4.95 or like $14.95 or like free plus shipping. Like, the point is, like, at that moment there, they've just thought, oh, that ad definitely doesn't, or that post definitely doesn't match what I've seen. And so pricing actually begins way ahead of time, actually, in that pre-frame, because if you can tee up your pre-frame, your price is going to it's going to be great. And the thing is, to put that back into a magic context, if you're charging like $2,000 and you're just seen as Joe from down the pub, chances of you getting $2,000 as Joe from down the pub, definitely not going to be the same thing. So pricing, we're going to go through the 5 big mistakes now, but just know that your price is heavily dictated by your presence, by the process involved with people actually getting to a discovery call, getting to actually a face-to-face conversation with you about what it is that you can offer them.
Yeah, 100%. And here's the thing I want you to bear in mind. I've got a great little story, Aidan, on how I missed out on a gig. And do you know how I missed out on it? I had sent my fee across. This was a few years back, and it was £495. And I quoted that. The lady went away. And then she came back and decided to book someone else. So naturally I probe. And the real genuine reason behind all of that was the fact she went for another entertainer because that other entertainer was more expensive. So she believed they were going to be better. And I missed out on the show because someone else was more expensive, so they booked them.
That's really... Yeah. Well, this is point 1, isn't it? This is the first pricing mistake, is that people price too low. And now, here's the thing. Pricing too low, what does that mean? Well, it's incredibly subjective as to what you think low is, etc., etc. And look, here's the thing. All of our clients have been able to charge upwards of £400, no questions, no problems. So arguably, and I know you're going to be sat there like, Aidan, that's really expensive. Oh my gosh, that's really too high.
You're just going to drum up the hate from the audience now. Here we go.
I don't care if I'm going to drum up the hate. Anything less than £400, I would argue, is too low. And here's why. Let's crank out another story. Here's why. Like, let's say in the context of weddings, because this is a market I'm familiar with, and an analogy that hopefully you'll follow along, whether you do weddings or wedding fairs or not. But let's say wedding fairs, for example. They're a really interesting event. And if you're not familiar, it's basically like a magic convention in that you've got your dealer hall where there's loads of dealers there trying to flog you their tricks, and you go around and you talk to the people, you see the tricks, maybe even see some demos, and then you buy the tricks at the end. And then that's cool. It's a bit like that, but for suppliers. So wedding couples show up and they go around, they meet photographers, they meet like the car hires, they meet all of the, there's loads of people, including some entertainers. And the point is that when they walk into that room or when they show up to these events, they don't just go round like you would in a dealer hall, chatting to absolutely everybody or stopping at every single stand as you walk around the room once. They've got a specific list of places that they need to go. For example, a wedding typically doesn't happen unless you've booked the venue, unless you've booked a photographer or a videographer in some cases, and a DJ. Like, they're the first three things that a lot of people go straight to. And as a result, when they walk in the room, they don't go to mingle with absolutely everyone. They need to go to the top three. Bam, bam, bam. They go and do those first. Now, after that, they then have a look at some extra niceties, extra things. Like, this can be... again, this is incredibly subjective, and there's like it could be anything from extra stuff to like the I don't want to say tack, because that's what I used to describe. What's like the little bric-a-brac style, like it's a bit niche. It's not quite what I was going with that.
There's a lady down the wedding venue that I know, and she actually does a load of painted oysters. So there you go.
Well, there you go. But this is the thing, like these extra little like floral decorations and all of that kind of stuff, the aesthetic-y stuff that they would like to have at the wedding. They go and do all of that bit next. And as they go through spending all their budget and all of this stuff, they then realise, oh, we should probably get some entertainment. And unfortunately, entertainment is one of the last things that people actually consider. And as a result, I think we kind of see that with a low budget. And we're not going to get into this now, but 80 to 90% of the time that your client says, oh, we don't have the budget, that's not actually the truth. That's a conversation for another time. Now, here's the thing. They go through all of that process, and you funnel it all the way through, and then you just play to whatever their budget is. It ends up being quite low. Whereas you've got a lot more power than just being the last person that they've booked, or a last-minute choice. You see, you go to a wedding, you show up at a wedding, if the entertainment's good, you talk about that wedding and the great entertainment. But if the entertainment or the entertainment at this specific event was god-awful, it was genuinely just terrible. Like, there was a magician there and you could see all the card tricks. It was like you weren't fooled at all. It wasn't a good magician. It was just awful. Guess what stands out? Guess why the wedding sucked? There was a terrible magician. That then becomes the thing that they talk about, and vice versa. If you're a really good magician, that's the thing that they talk about. So you literally have the ability as a performer to make or break the event. And I'm talking to the TSM podcast listeners here, and so presumably you're all at least good performers, at least semi-competent at performing for a real life audience. If not, we've got some earlier performance episodes, but I'm sure you guys don't need them. You're ready for the business stuff. Now here's the thing. You've got the ability to make or break an event just by being there and doing your thing. And I think that responsibility, that warrants a higher fee than a lot of people are charging. Like, if you're charging 100 quid, 200 quid, chances are you can up that quite significantly. I don't want to say do it right now, but I would highly recommend that you could increase your fee. Maybe even do a little social media post to say, hey, I'm increasing my fee on this date. Any bookings made before then will be at the regular price. Just there's maybe even a little excuse to make it publicly aware that you are raising your prices and available for bookings. It does two things there.
Oh, a little bit of sneaky time urgency is slipping into the podcast. I like that. But I think one of the reasons why people get caught up in pricing too low, Aidan, is a lot of people that are in magic because they're doing a day job alongside, and magic's kind of like a little top up thing, or they're doing a day job and they want to run from magic and do magic full time. There's only a really small percentage of people that actually go straight from just a kid in school to just bang, full-time job as a magician. And as a byproduct, people are used to getting paid a certain wage at work, and they go, well, if I was at work today, I would have made 50 quid. If I was at work today, I would have made 100 quid. So the fact that I'm getting 120 for this gig and I've only got to be there to do an hour's show, wow, that's a load of money. But it doesn't work like that. I mean, you said to me a while back, like, by a while back, I mean like an hour ago, the thing you have to bear in mind is that when you're at work, you're there literally constantly every single day, and it's a completely different business. It's something else. We're going to talk about, obviously, time and all of that a little bit later in this episode, but it's a completely different business. It's completely irrelevant. That's like literally pricing your magic services because the price of concrete has gone up. That's how stupid it is, comparing your day job to the magic and work that you do. And a lot of people do get worried and think, wow, I can't charge more than this because that's a day's wages for me. That's 2 days' wages. That's why they get caught up charging low.
Well, this is a really important thing. So that's mistake number one. Mistake number two is that people charge too high. It's just completely on the flip side. As we gave
so
the
much
example.
Confusion. People are like, yes, I'm geared up. I'm gonna put my fees up. Oh no, what have I done? I've charged too high. Oh, I can't make any success listening to this podcast. What have you done, Aidan?
Well, this is like, let's say we're all chakra healing bracelets, like the same thing. If people are coming to us expecting like a nice reasonable average fee, because we're not a full-time professional performer, we've not got an amazing website, or our social media doesn't look amazing, basically our organic presence doesn't look amazing, and you're charging like $2,000, like people are going to see that disconnect just like they would with the bracelet. If it's just a mediocre opportunity followed by a high price, like, oh my god, it doesn't make sense, and it's going to be a lot harder, and that's when a lot of people struggle to sell and have to pitch and hard close and all of that kind of stuff, and it's irrelevant. It's the point we're making here is that pricing too high can become quite a big problem, especially if your pre-frame isn't great.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest problems when it comes to pricing too high is that a lot of people don't justify why their fees that high. Like, there's not that value exchange. They're literally just doing some tricks. And here's the thing, your clients don't pay for you to rock up and do some card tricks. I mean, that's technically what they think they're paying for, but it's not really why you're at the event. And if you are literally just saying, hey, I'll rock up and do some card tricks, why are you charging 2, 3, 4, 5 grand? There's got to be the appropriate value exchange. When there's more value, tangible value, and how you can actually help your client and solve challenges at that event that they might be facing, the more challenges you solve, the more value you become, more valuable you become. The more valuable you can become, Aidan. And that warrants a higher fee. You can't just up your fee to £50,000 and not give more value. That makes sense?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that clearly, it's just like there is a fine edge between too low and too high. And in order to find out that value, well, again, we don't want to do pricing mistake number 3, which is pricing by random. And that's just picking a number and hoping for it. Just plucking a number out of thin air, or just finding out what the budget is and just saying a number that's inside that budget. Like, pricing by random is one of the biggest problems that a lot of entertainers face. It's like, how much should I charge? But there's not really much information out there about how much to charge. So what should I do? 100 quid will do. Like, that's what a lot of entertainers do. I did it early doors. I'm sure, Ashley, you were the same, just plucking a number and hoping for the best. And pricing by random, big mistake, because A, it implies that you don't know what you're doing. B, you could be accidentally pricing too low or pricing too high and screwing yourself over just by plucking a random number out of thin air. And C, well, it's not actually strategically done. It's not done in any specific manner. For example, if you want to be doing a gig a week and you know that you need to be making, say, £2,000 a month, for example, well, a gig a week at £2,000 a month, that's 4 So 4 times £500 is suddenly a really clear fee to pick, rather than just saying, oh, what should I charge? 150 quid will do. Well, 9 grand. Like, actually picking strategically by working out, A, what you need to make, how many gigs you want to be doing, and actually doing a little bit of math can go a long, long way.
But this becomes a problem, and it is a problem because not many entertainers actually go out, and I'm sorry to bring this up and be Mr. Negative here, but not many people go out and do that little bit of planning required to think, well, how much do I actually need to make this a sustainable career? How many gigs does that equate to? They just literally go, oh yeah, I'll put this figure on gigs. If I can shift enough of them, I can make this work. It doesn't work that way round. Like, there's got to be some element of planning. What are you aiming for? This is why companies have targets. You don't get like the big CEO of Marks and Spencer's. You don't get, give me another example. Whoever is currently on the board for Walmart or whatever, you don't get them going, yeah, all right, we're just £5 for the fish. Yeah, I don't know. We've got some lottery balls. Someone check out. Yeah, it's 20 quid for the TV and 500 quid for that chocolate bar. We just sell a couple of them and that'll cover everyone's wages. Don't do that. Everything is strategically priced up based on like the appropriate value exchange, even there in the goods and services and products which they're selling. And then they have specific targets. They know how much they've got to reach. And there's the same thing we've got to be doing here, albeit on a smaller scale, because we're not Walmart. I mean, if you are, then kudos to you, Mr. Walmart magician. But, like, this is the same thing. And what
Mark.
Oh, well, yeah, Mark Spencer. Is there anyone here? If there is, please reach out. If you are the magician called Mark Spencer.
That would be funny.
But when it comes to charging random, it's not just picking a fee out of the air. It's those people that have the inconsistencies. The one week they're charging £500, the next week they're charging £1,000, the week after they're charging 100 quid. There's no consistency in there. It leads to a lot of unfairness. We mentioned this in episode 43, and it means that if any of your clients talk, well, they're going to be like, hang on, didn't I just book so-and-so? I booked the same magician so-and-so for 300 quid, and you're saying you booked them for 150 quid. And why did you pay £1,000 for them? That is my worst nightmare. There's so many magicians out there that go, oh yeah, I got this luxury party, so I reckon I'm going to go in and charge about £1,000 for that. Hang on, aren't you doing the exact same thing that you done at the birthday party last week you charged £300 for? That is immoral, and you should stop that. And that is another example of just charging randomly. You don't actually know what you're offering. You are just making up your prices based on how much you think someone can pay for it. Why? There's no strategy in your business. If this is you, please stop doing that. It's a big hate of mine. And the other one that comes into this, Aidan, is when I'm going off on a rant now. I've done what you done at the beginning. If you want hate for me, you can send your hate to Aidan at info@thesuccessfulmentalist.com, and you can send your hate to me also at info@thesuccessfulmentalist.com. In the tagline, just use different names.
I will buzz it all off to D-Rush.
D-Rush can deal with it. Thank you, my friend. But the other thing that comes in, and this links into a previous point that I've made about people getting caught up in the day job, is this. People have their set fees for gigs. Might be a 500,000, 2,000. But then someone comes back to them and says, I've only got a budget of 250 quid. It's down the road. And the entertainer, I'll say it, I've got some friends which have done this, and they've gone, well, I'm not doing anything that day. I might as well. I can spend their money better than they can. Yeah, I'll do it. As long as I get the money in that account. It just doesn't work. It's unfair to other clients, and on top of that, it's just immoral. It's immoral, and you've got no plan of action.
Well, it's one of those things at the end of the day. It's not actually helping you make that stepping stone towards that life and lifestyle that you actually want to live.
It's just more inconsistencies in the business, and that's why magic isn't sustainable for a lot of people.
Exactly that. Now, here's the thing. Big mistake number 4 is actually pricing by competition, and there's 2 types of competition. There is competition between other entertainers. You look at what other entertainers are charging in your local area, which we spoke quite a bit about on episode 43. Stop doing that. It's pointless. Because who's booking you? The client or the other entertainers in your area? Priced by your client, not your other performers in your local area. And then the other type of competition is also you. Like, you are your own competition. You start and you go, and a lot of people do this. They set a fee and think, oh, well, I probably wouldn't pay that. Let me lower it. Yeah, I could probably pay that. And here's the thing. Here's the hardball truth. You are not your client. You do not have the budget that your client has for the event that they have. You are not the person that is going to be making the decision about whether or not you are a good fit for their entertainment. So as a result, why are you pricing based on you? You just don't have the authority to make that decision. You just don't have the capability to make that decision. So why bother making that decision? Let's just instead make sure that we are not pricing by yourself as the competition. We're not pricing by other people, because again, they're not the decision makers. And when you do that, you're priced by other people as well. Well, you open yourself up to competition, negotiation, and all of that kind of stuff. And I'll be honest, negotiating on a sales call, probably my worst nightmare, because I'm not very good at it. So I'd rather just avoid that like the plague.
Yeah. And it's the quickest race to the bottom as well. You're just in that pit of competition. It's best to be elsewhere working with different clients in the next market along. Fun story on that. I actually know a psychic entertainer that was paid £10,000 to fly over to New York to give a half-hour reading and then fly back, all expenses paid for, the jet over there. And it just proves the point. I'm pretty sure that psychic would not pay 10 grand for a half-hour reading, but there's people out there that gladly will. You are not your client at the end of the day. And the other thing I want to touch on here is pricing by time. This is a biggie that a lot of entertainers do. Pricing by time, i.e., I charge this for an hour, and for 2 hours I charge this. For 1 hour it's £150 close-up magic, and for 2 hours it's £225. You mentioned negotiation, Aidan. Charging by hour is literally the biggest way to open up negotiation. It's very comparable to everyone else because every entertainer charges via hour. So it's really easy to compare you to everyone. And secondly, your client can go, well, yeah, if you're £150 for an hour, can we just get you for a half hour? That's half the price, right? And you're like, well, no, because I've got to drive there and it's not worth it for £75. Setting that up, it's horrendous. You want more negotiation? By all means, charge by hour, but we don't.
No, it's a really important one. It's just pricing by any form, and it's not just pricing by the hour here, because a lot of people don't do that, but they still make the pricing by time mistake. How do they make that mistake? Well, they still package up the services and offer it. They just also say that this is about 2 hours.
Yep.
So you're not pricing by the hour, you're still pricing by time as a result of putting a timestamp on your entertainment package. It's
my favourite line I've seen is, oh no, I don't charge by hour. Instead, I have certain packages, and you can get my the close-up magic package, and this will cover your evening's entertainment. I'll be doing close-up magic around the tables for 2 hours. Hang on, what?
Yeah, it's like it's weird disconnect here. You're not pricing by the hour, yet for some reason the time frames is kind of important, like as a result of offering what it is. And again, if we can just get rid of that whole conversation, and this is something that I'm actually experimenting with right now. Actually, I haven't told you about this, but some of my entertainment packages with like shows and stuff, like an extra 30-minute show and stuff, I'm taking out the time of that. I'm not putting the time in that offer doc, because again, at the end of the day, why should the length of that show dictate whether or not they book it? It's just something I'm playing with. Again, I'll feed back. Maybe we can even dissect the results on the podcast on a later episode in a few months' time or something. But yeah, really interesting points there. So 5 big mistakes that entertainers make when it comes down to pricing. Number 1 is pricing too low. Number 2 is pricing too high. Number 3 is pricing by random. Number 4 is pricing by competition. And number 5 is pricing by time. Now, here's the thing. There is a solution, and we have hinted at it throughout this I nearly said it by trying to say podcast there. But the solution is actually having entertainment packages, and not just any old, oh, this is what I'll do, let me throw it together, and that's option 1. Here's option 2. Here's option 3. Or my pet peeve, my absolute hate is gold, silver, and bronze. Blech. What are you, the Olympics? No, you're not. You're Jerry from down the pub. So here's the thing. The solution is to have really... that was a random bit. You're welcome.
I'm so sorry, Jerry.
So, Jerry, if you are listening, you can also email us, info@thesuccessfulmentalist.com, by which point I will formally apologise. So here's the thing. Your solution is simple. Create really desirable entertainment packages that have been built for your client, based on your client's needs, based on your client's wants, and actually deliver that. Not what can you do in the amount of time, where can you fit, what can you, how did... Nah. We're going to get rid of all of those pricing problems by literally delivering the entertainment packages. And this is something that we actually teach in full depth inside our Momentum program. But this is the first thing, because it's so important. If you nail your entertainment packages and you get this stuff really teed in, really great, it means that not only do you know exactly what type of leads you want, but it also means that your sales conversations become really, really easy, because you've pre-framed those conversations with high quality leads, because you've created great entertainment packages. You didn't get a load of leads, then make some packages and then try and flog it in all of the wrong ways because of all the pricing issues. You're doing it in an order. There is a process. There's a method to the madness that is not actually madness. It's a thriving and hustle-free entertainment career. And if you follow those steps, you're in a great position.
So with that in mind, you've got to start packaging up your things that you're offering your client. You've got to start putting something together. Follow what Aidan said. Be strategic with this. That way you can go to your client with clear-cut decisions on what you can and can't do. You can be very specific, and it also means that you can explain the value that you offer, because rather than making it up on the spot like most entertainers do when they pitch to their clients and then whack a price on the end of it, you can say, hey, this is what I do, this is what I can bring to the table, this is what it means for you, and this is a transformation that will come at your events. And it's the transformations that your clients buy into, not the things that you can do. They don't go, oh, you can do some cool card tricks. Yeah, I'll buy that. It's the tangible transformations, and we want to start putting that forward and bundling up into a package.
Well, this is the thing. When it comes, like you would say, when you buy a book or a course or something, you buy a course on how to do XYZ things in this amount of time. You're not buying all of the 40 billion hours of video content and bonus worksheets and all of that kind of stuff. What you're buying is that transformation. You're buying the results on the end, so that if you buy this thing and do the work, you'll get the results, because that's what you want. And that's the same for your clients. Like people that jump on like a 90-day health, get shredded, become Dwayne The Rock Johnson level program. People buy that because they want to get shredded and on like Dwayne The Rock Johnson level stuff. They don't want to be the measly self that they are right now. And more importantly, they're not paying for the 3 times a week exercise or the daily exercise routine and the 8 hours of gym time with the 4 personal trainers and the 55 supplements that they have to take, as well as a meal plan that they absolutely hate. Like if you could sell that like that, kudos to you. You must be good at sales. But here's the thing: they want the outcome, and the same is with our clients. At the end of the day, say a wedding couple, they don't want some dude to walk around pester the guests doing card tricks for 3 hours. What do they want instead? Well, maybe what instead they want is a completely improved event. They want people talking about it. They want there to be a buzz. They want the atmosphere absolutely boosted. Or maybe they just want to fill some dead time. Or maybe they want something completely unique. Or maybe they just love magic. Or it's a Harry Potter themed wedding and they want a real life magician there. Like, all of these different things are they're all options, right? They're all options. And in order to actually create the entertainment packages, we have to find these options and then find out what we can do. So what's the problem? What is the solution that you can offer to fix that problem? Bundle those up. That is how you create. That's a really, like, we don't have time right now to go into the full depth of how to build an entertainment package. But the point there being, if you can create a really desirable entertainment package, you're in a fantastic position.
Yeah, well, that's it. You start looking at problems and challenges at events, how you can actually help with them. You start putting that together on pieces of paper, and then you've got something clear cut. I do this, which means this, so that this. Like that in the basic framework. You don't want to be putting together a package to say, yes, this is my Oracle package, and that includes close-up card tricks during the reception, close-up magic during the dinner, and then a 15-minute show. You want to be, yes, showing the features which you include in this package, and some of them might not even be magic related. There's a little tip for you guys to remember. Magic might not be the solution to one of your client's problems. It could be something else, okay? Just bear that in mind. We're sure we'll touch on that in a later episode if you guys want. But you should be listing off your features and then actually explaining what it is that you do and why that makes sense for the client. What does that mean for them? What is the transformation? And it's when you can start to sell that, when you can start to explain that in your packages, that you're putting in all of these features which you can do, which bundle up nicely. Yes, which bundle up nicely. And when you can start explaining those transformations, now you've got something with a bunch of features that makes sense for your client. And then when it comes to pricing, now that we've got this package here, when it comes to pricing, what do, Aidan? Oh, we just choose a figure at random, don't we? No, of course we don't. What do?
Well, this is the thing. We've got an offer now. We've got a package. What is the tangible value that that's going to bring? And we price accordingly. For example, some clients will value, like, just filling dead time. Huge big price, especially on a high end event, like a really important event. Well, they're going to want the dead time gone because they're going to want people actually doing stuff and talking about it. So we price by the value that we're actually going to be offering, not by the deliverables or anything like that. We actually price as a result of the massive benefit that we're actually bringing.
A great way to work your mind around this is to think, what would it cost your client for you not to be there?
That's just it. What is that cost for the client not to work with you? Let's just say for an example in continuity from earlier, let's say they get a not great magician, like for 150 quid. And they're bad. And everybody for life is talking about how bad the magician was at your wedding. Like, sure, you can't put a figure on exactly how much damage that was. It's not like in a business where you send an email and 500 people unsubscribe. Like, you can tell how damaging that is to your business. But you don't get that from like these intangible things. But it's a very big emotional scar. That's all I'll say, especially in the world of weddings. It's a very big emotional scar. If your one big special day, the day that teed you up for your new legacy and the whole new aspect of life, the only thing people are talking about was how terrible the magician was. For me, that is worth an awful lot of cash to not have that as a problem.
Same as in the corporate world. You've got a room full of potential investors that the company may be sweetening up or whatever that is, and they don't book you as entertainment, they don't book any entertainment, and everyone's left awkward and bored. Well, it puts everyone in a bad mood. If they don't invest in that company, well, that company could potentially lose tens, hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Well, that could let's play it really on the edge of the extreme here. Let's say that was the company's last shot at getting investment before whole thing goes bankrupt, everything goes wrong, absolute nightmare.
Well, there you go.
3 months down the line, the whole business collapses. Like, we're not saying that you have the power to make or break an entire company, but you kind of do.
Puts it into perspective.
It really does. It really does. And again, one of the things that we found particularly important is to play with this stuff. Experiment. Increase your fee a little bit. See how people go about this. Set out what you want. Price clearly by what you need, and B, what the actual value it is that you're going to be bringing, and pitch it. The only way that you're going to know whether your price is any good is by putting it in front of 100 clients. Literally. And I say 100, I don't just pick that out of nowhere. Like, 100 is a really good number, because you will have a very clear percentage of conversions. After you do 5, really hard to get a good percentage. You do 100 sales calls with clients, and you find that 30% of them took actually took the offer that you've put them through. You know that there's either a pricing issue and a sales issue. There's a big issue there. So again, pitch this more, play, tweak, adjust, improve. Refinement it's a constant process as you grow through your entertainment career, which is really, really important.
Yeah, it really is. And it is one of them things you're going to work on. But if there's one thing that we can drum across, it's the fact that you are valuable, and you've got to get your value across to your clients, and you've got to stop pricing too low, pricing too high when there's no value or no added extra value there, pricing by random, pricing by whatever your competition's doing, you're not them, or pricing by time or hourly. None of that works. You're your own person. You've got to build up. You don't want these unclear offers. That's what a lot of entertainers have. You want to build this up and have desirable entertainment packages that your clients love, rave about, and they're just no-brainer offers. Your clients absolutely adore them time and time again. That's what you want. And if you want some help with that, then you can join us in our Momentum program. And if you want to join us in our Momentum program, Aidan, where can they find that?
Head over to thesuccessfulmentalist.com/momentum for more info. And it'd be great to see more people inside actually paving this new way, because this is a thing as well. As a complete side note, I know that was a nice, beautiful swerve to a call to action there with a nice end point I've now ruined. This is an industry thing, because at the end of the day, it's all well and good that me and Ashley price like this, but think of how many entertainers out there are charging ridiculously low, and as a result, clients are shopping around and the bar is set really low. If together we can work out as an industry, and it happens bit by bit, person by person, entertainer by entertainer, if we can collectively raise our fees and stuff, the industry average will go up. We can charge more. We can have more entertainers earning more from their craft and getting paid well to do the thing that they love. Like, see, this is the thing. That we're not just saying jack up your fee because you'll be able to get more money. We're saying increase your fee if you can and if it's relevant to you and if you need to, because it will only benefit Magic in the long run, which is super, super important. So in my vain attempt now to actually try and steal Ashley's call to action here, by all means come and join us in Momentum. That would be amazing. But if you have any questions or you'd like to pick our brains on any of this deeper, I tell you what I'd love you to do is head over to Instagram. Go to instagram.com/thesuccessfulmentalist and drop us a message. Literally DM us or send us a little voice note. In fact, send us a voice note. That would be amazing. Voice note your questions, and we'd love to get some questions featured in the show. It's something that we've done a few times in the past before, but we'd love to get your questions actually answered in future episodes. So head over to instagram.com/thesuccessfulmentalist. Drop us a little voice note and we'll be able to answer your question on a future episode of the show. With that said, I've been Aidan O'Sullivan, that's been Not Aidan O'Sullivan, and we will see you very soon for another episode of the TSM podcast.